Millions of dollars in medical bills, traumatic brain injury, and now a lawsuit against Cedar Point. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Action News Now on this Wednesday. We are following this breaking news just into a newsroom. A lawsuit filed against Cedar Point in connection to a 2021 incident involving a woman who was hit by a flying piece of debris from the top Thrill Dragster. The lawsuit alleges that she had a traumatic brain injury, that her medical bills so far have surpassed $2 million, and that her family and doctors expect future medical treatment to surpass $10 million. Firm representing this woman based in Sandusky filing suit against Cedar Point at a story that we followed closely after it happened. This is the body cam from the responding Sandusky police officers who were there at the foot of the top Thrill Dragster when this happened on August 15th, 2021. The Michigan woman named Rachel Hawes is the one who is suing Cedar Point. She was standing in line for the coaster whenever she was hit by a flying piece of debris from that coaster, the very popular Top Thrill Dragster, which has not been in operation ever since. We've been following this story again since August 2021, whenever it first happened, and the closure of the Top Thrill Dragster, and then now the announced reopening of that ride, the reimagined ride, I should say. Cedar Point just posted this yesterday saying, we're just getting started with the reimagined Top Thrill Dragster. So it is going to come back, but it will not look like it once did whenever it was at the center of an investigation by the state. Here is a story from February of 2022 detailing the investigation into this incident from the Ohio Department of Agriculture, ruling that Cedar Point did not break any laws. We dove into what that report said and the metal plate that disconnected from the ride. And if you go through this report, it details the response to it, and has some photos of that plate, the ride area, the area where people stand in line to get on the Top Thrill Dragster. Again, this is not a lawsuit. This is a Ohio Department of Agriculture report into this. Here you can see this is the actual metal plate that came flying off and hit the woman. So the report goes through and analyzes Cedar Point's response, analyzes what happened, what could have been done differently. This is the piece of debris that ultimately fell off of the structure and hit the 44-year-old. She was 44 years old at the time. She was hit in the head by that flag plate, they called it. It was about the size of an adult man's hand. There were about half of the bolts that secured the plate missing from it at the time, according to the report. But staff members said that they were intact, and the full report says that the bolts failed by instantaneous overload fracture. So again, the ride closed for the rest of the season, remains closed at this time as Cedar Point goes to reimagine it. But that report from the state found that Cedar Point did not break any laws, at least in the process of whether it was inspecting it or in its response. Now, this is a civil lawsuit that seeks damages. In it, it says that Cedar Point defendants were negligent in failing to protect people, including Rachel, from being injured, negligent in failing to discover that bolts were loose, and didn't properly inspect the ride. So here's a result, what that injury resulted in according to the lawsuit. It says that Rachel Hawes sustained serious and permanent injuries, including but not limited to, and there's a lot here, a right open skull fracture, cerebral laceration, contusions, prolonged loss of consciousness for more than 24 hours, head trauma which resulted in a traumatic brain injury. She received physical, occupational, and speech therapy. The lawsuit saying her medical expenses exceeded $2 million, with a cost in excess of $10 million with that further medical treatment. They also said she was enrolled in graduate school to try and become an educator, losing earning capacity in the ballpark of some $1.25 million. The suit saying she is permanently disabled and will no longer be able to work as a result of the injuries sustained at Cedar Point that day. We have reached out to Cedar Point representatives for a comment, and we'll update this story whenever we hear a response, if we receive a response. The suit says that Rachel Hawes was in line to ride it with her father and was hit by that proximity plate that we showed you while she was waiting in line to ride. This is body cam showing the emergency response, and it was kind of a chaotic situation on the ground, if you remember, and you can go back through our previous web stories, hearing the 911 calls, seeing the initial response from Cedar Point, the police on scene and the security on scene. There were a lot of people who seemed to think they were in charge there on the ground at that time, and that's something else that we detailed. This was the statement from Cedar Point whenever the incident initially happened. It came out a few days after the incident and said, "Our team has the health and welfare of our guest at the forefront of our minds. We'll continue to offer support to her and her family. Want to fully understand what happened and why," and they go on to say that they will help with the investigation and they'll be cooperating and whatnot. We won't rush the investigation that, of course, we said has already been completed by the Ohio Department of Agriculture. Again, this is a 2021 statement. They said in this that the Top Thrill Dragster would remain closed for the rest of that season. And now, of course, we know that it is being kind of reinvented a little bit with this post just coming yesterday. Ironically, it timed for Cedar Point posting what is the beginning of the new Top Thrill Dragster there at Cedar Point. We are following this, of course, on 13abc.com. If you go to our website, type in Top Thrill Dragster, you can get full coverage of this story. You can also see the entire lawsuit that we have uploaded on our webpage right now, where you can go in and read what the plaintiffs here, the attorneys representing Rachel Hawes, are alleging and why they are seeking the damages that they are. Again, we have reached out to Cedar Fair and Cedar Point for a comment. We have not heard back, but we'll update you if and when that happens. More coverage of this story and all of your other day's headlines coming up throughout the evening on Action News. We are on TV until 6:30. We hope that you'll join us there. For all of us here at 13 Action News, I'm Josh Krupp saying farewell for now from Toledo.